Tonight on NewsWatch Ole Miss, after disagreements throughout the entire legislative session, the Mississippi House and Senate finally agreed on a tax cut plan. Now it's up to the governor. We'll take a look at that plan.
The in-person festivities for the Oxford Film Festival came to a conclusion. We'll take a look at the return to the big screen coming up.
Uh-oh, Richard! Oh, wow! Wow!
That slap from Will Smith overshadowed most of the Oscars last night. We'll take a look at the reactions to his outburst and everything that you didn't hear about last night. NewsWatch Ole Miss starts now.
Good evening and welcome to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Anna Caroline Barker.
And I'm Sarah Gale. As parts of the Mississippi are just beginning to recover from Tuesday's storms, it seems another round is on the way. The National Weather Service put Lafayette County in the enhanced risk category for severe weather on Wednesday, meaning there's a good chance of strong to severe storms capable of producing heavy rainfall, damaging winds, and tornadoes. Today, the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency reported a third injury from last week's storms, which damaged over 250 houses across the Magnolia State.
Mississippi lawmakers passed the state's largest tax cut ever yesterday after months of back and forth, reducing the state income tax over 4 years beginning in 2023. Governor Tate Reeves indicated he will sign this bill into a law, although it is not the complete elimination of the income tax that he wanted. Starting next year, the 4% income tax bracket will be eliminated, and in the following 3 years, the 5% bracket will be reduced to 4%. Income taxes currently makes up 34% of the state of Mississippi's revenue.
Today, a new bill to create the Tallahatchie River Authority is waiting on the governor's signature. House Bill 1323 will create this authority, which will basically be a board of supervisors from the counties located along the river, including Lafayette, that will be in charge of promoting tourism and economic development along the Tallahatchie River. One person from each county will be appointed to the authority, and they will only be able to make decisions in relation to the river area.
The bill known as the Buddy's Law died in the state legislature weeks ago, but a new plan is in the works to try and bring it back. The bill, named after Buddy the dog, who was badly burned and nearly killed last year at the hands of a 12-year-old, would mandate psychological assessments and treatment for youths who torture animals, as well as legal penalties for anyone found guilty of animal cruelty. A group of Mississippi senators have added Buddy's Law onto Bill 1065, protecting domesticated dogs and cats.
Last night ended the 19th annual Oxford Film Festival, and several university students were able to showcase their work. NewsWatch reporter Alex Barfield talked to several film students about their films.
The Oxford Film Festival features films from across the world and some closer to home. Film students Stan Clayton and Jackson Strickland worked together on a film called Oxford, A Place for Art that was a part of the festival.
The Active Arts Council is helping artists have profitable businesses that are self-sustaining and bringing that to light so that people will hopefully donate and help this nonprofit change lives.
Senior film students Talia Harmon and Tony Strickland worked on the film Big Hill, Big Dream.
The premise behind Big Hill, Big Dream is that Tony, myself, is snowed in Oxford, and he builds a snowboard and wants to conquer the biggest hill in his neighborhood. So, but the issue is his board is very homemade and doesn't work. So it's a comical kind of improvised film about this, redneck chasing his dream, basically.
Definitely a humbling experience submitting to film festivals, because there's one that gets accepted out of every 10 rejections or 15 rejections. So it's, I don't know, it feels really good to have something accepted when so many haven't been.
Those film students are producing work for their classes. Tony and Talia are working on a joint thesis project, and who knows, they may be able to submit the Fort Festival next year.
Turning now to our coronavirus coverage, a week after students returned from spring break, COVID-19 cases on campus continue to decrease, with only one active student case over the past 7 days. Cases remain low across the Magnolia State. Numbers are similarly low, with just 132 confirmed cases throughout the weekend.
Unfortunately, as COVID-19 cases are dropping, flu cases and hospitalizations are rising, and at a usual time of the year. Usually flu season spikes between December and February, but this year, in March, the latest numbers of cases are continuing to rise across the nation. The highest levels of cases are in the central and south central regions of the country, where some schools have even had to cancel classes due to the surge. Doctors say that the spike could be related to relaxed public health measures, like masking, or could just be the natural flow of the virus. Either way, make sure to wash your hands frequently and avoid touching them to your eyes and nose.
Last week, right here on NewsWatch, you heard all about the 4 Ukrainian children who are getting the cancer treatment they need at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis. But the hospital is helping far more than just those kids continue treatment.
Yeah, we've been able to help over 700 children with cancer to evacuate the war zone and transfer into Poland and then into other countries within the European Union, and ultimately some of the patients to here in the United States.
While St. Jude looks to help Ukrainians, hospital staffs in Ukraine are working overtime. Since the Russian invasion, hospitals in Kyiv are working nonstop and under martial law, providing care to anyone who needs it, including injured Russian soldiers. Some medical workers have even moved their families into the hospitals with them, while more volunteers have arrived to help. As Russia continues its attacks in Ukraine, the city of Mariupol is evacuating its residents. Meanwhile, the White House is walking back to the remarks President Biden made about Putin in Poland. CNN's Chris Wynn has the latest details.
As Russia intensifies its missile strikes on Ukrainian cities in the west and the east, heavy fighting also continues in the south, where the mayor of the port city of Mariupol has called for a complete evacuation of the remaining population. A weeks-long siege by Russian forces has flattened the city, leaving an unknown number of civilians dead and forcing hundreds of thousands of people from their homes. Intense fighting also continuing in the suburbs of Kyiv, as Russian forces attempt to establish a corridor around the capital to block supply routes, according to a Ukrainian defense official. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he's ready to accept a neutral, non-nuclear status as part of a peace deal with Russia, but any agreement would have to be put to the Ukrainian people in a referendum.
This was the first point of principle for the Russian Federation, as I recall. And as far as I remember, they started the war because of this.
Meanwhile, President Joe Biden triggering a political storm after going off script during a speech in Poland.
For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power.
White House officials and Biden himself now trying to downplay the remarks, saying he was really arguing that Vladimir Putin can't be allowed to exercise his power over neighboring countries.
It was expressing my outrage. He shouldn't remain in power. Just like, bad people shouldn't continue to do bad things. But it doesn't mean we have a fundamental policy to do anything to take Putin down.
In Washington, I'm Chris Wynn reporting.
The president went on to say that he feels no need to apologize for the comments because of Putin's brutality. Whether it be in Ukraine or the Middle East or anywhere around the world, one of the key factors in any crisis is communication. That's why tonight the Overby Center for Southern Journalism and Politics is hosting a discussion on crisis communication, led by Melissa Charbonneau, an Ole Miss alumna who spent 3 years as a communications advisor with people in Afghanistan. She will share her experiences working with the Afghan Women's Project and a NATO security mission tonight at 5:30. This Thursday and Friday, the Ole Miss School of Journalism and New Media welcomes some of the nation's top communications executives and leading researchers for the inaugural IMC Connect event. This Thursday, students and faculty will have the opportunity to network and participate in working sessions at the Overby Center, including a discussion of how to best prepare students for the job market. And then this Friday, at the end, guests are invited to various panel sessions discussing crisis communication, social media analytics, public relations, and more. Students and faculty can register using the official Give Pulse platform. It's time to stop ignoring the update notifications from your web browser. Google Chrome is pushing an urgent update after a recent problem. Find out what coming up, but first, here's a look at your current conditions.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere will bring us wireless emergency alerts. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Mom, I got it. What are you doing in there?
I got stuck.
Are you a dog?
I wouldn't do that. Have you seen the pliers? Where'd you find those?
It's not your birthday.
Sorry.
Bye, Grandpa.
Bye, Grandpa.
Take care of yourself.
What are you doing? What are you looking for?
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Today, President Biden announced the federal budget for 2023, and lawmakers in both parties have already signaled for changes. Some of the key points in the budget include raising corporate taxes and taxes for the wealthy, and then give more spending to military and domestic priorities. Some lawmakers think that this increases will not sufficiently address inflation or ultimately reduce costs. And others that applauded the proposal also acknowledged that they would ultimately set their own priorities for government funding.
Former President Trump's son-in-law and senior advisor Jared Kushner is expected to speak with the House Select Committee investigation regarding the Capitol riot on January 6, 2021. Sources say Kushner plans to speak voluntarily during a virtual interview this week. His wife Ivanka Trump, who also served as an advisor to her father, was in discussions just last month to speak with the committee as well. And today, Trump's lawyer, John Eastman, was ordered to hand over 100 emails with the former president to the committee.
The House Select Committee might also question the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. Virginia Thomas reportedly sent more than 24 texts to the White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, asking him to keep fighting to overturn the 2020 election. However, Thomas claims she did not take part in the planning of the rally of that day. And spokesperson for the Select Committee says that no one has been ruled out of getting a subpoena and that Thomas will likely be contacted by the committee in the next few weeks. Meanwhile, there is a growing sentiment among Democrats in Washington for her husband to step down from the bench.
If you're like me and rarely update your web browser, consider this a sign to do so as soon as possible. Just last week, Google announced a dangerous vulnerability in its Chrome browser, making users more susceptible to fall victim to hackers. The company has announced an emergency update for its billions of Chrome users, but could take several days to roll out. This vulnerability also affects Microsoft Edge users, but a patch is already available to those users. The company says other browsers such as Amazon Silk, Brave, Opera, and others are open to the same exploit. So if you haven't, update your default browser now.
And the world's largest retailer has plans to stop selling tobacco products at some of its stores in the U.S. A spokesperson for Walmart, the company made this decision after looking into the tobacco sales. Walmart did not say exactly which stores or when they will stop restocking the products, only that they will be replaced with other products like food and candy or more self-checkout registers.
Will Smith won the first Oscar of his career last night, but that award, along with the rest of the ceremony, was overshadowed by his onstage slap to Chris Rock's face. CNN's Isabel Rosales has a look at the aftermath.
It was a shocking onstage slap, winning the most buzzed about Oscar moment.
Wow!
Seconds before, comedian Chris Rock's joke about Jada Pinkett Smith didn't land with husband Will Smith.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
The onstage blow stunning the audience, leading to wide condemnation and support on social media. Smith's son tweeting, "And that's how we do it." The Academy writing, "It does not condone violence of any form." Pinkett Smith has been open about her struggle with alopecia, an autoimmune disorder that leads to hair loss. G.I. Jane, the 90s blockbuster to which Rock referred, stars Demi Moore with a shaved head. Smith later returned to the stage, accepting the Oscar for Best Actor in the film King Richard.
Richard Williams was a fierce defender of his family.
During his emotional speech, Smith apologized to the Academy and fellow nominees, but didn't specifically mention what happened or Rock.
He should not have been allowed to go on stage to make a speech.
Smith appears to have skirted any potential legal fallout. LAPD confirmed Rock declined to press charges. I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
And with that slap came a huge increase in ratings for the awards show. Smith and Rock's altercation blew up almost immediately on social media and could have been responsible for the boost in ratings. After historic lows last year, this year's ratings went up as much as 56% from last year's show. Over 15.3 million viewers tuned in to watch this year's award ceremony.
That slap took attention away from many of the winners. Coda took home Best Picture, and Jane Campion won the Best Director for Power of the Dog. It was a busy night for Will Smith, who returned to the stage to accept the Best Actor award for his performance in King Richard. And Jessica Chastain took home Best Actress for The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Dune took home several awards, and the latest Disney hit Encanto scored the Oscar for the Best Animated Film.
Coming up in sports, the Ole Miss baseball team may be waking up with a sour taste in their mouths after getting absolutely dominated by the Vols over the weekend. And the stage is officially set for the Final Four. Find out what you can expect up next in sports.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What?
I can't drive.
Why?
I'm high.
Oh.
On October 15, 2017, 2 words changed the course of history. The words we wrote that day are a part of a longer and even more powerful history.
The wounds become scars.
Things are changing. We really need everyone's voices.
Today, we all have a chance to write another chapter, powered by everyday activism as simple as joining a march or reading a book, written to a permanent archive on a public blockchain.
Because it takes a sea of us coming forward to demand change.
Because no matter who you are, you can act too. The end of sexual violence begins with this next act.
Times during class, and I tell her to talk to him, and it's like, oh, ew.
Ew.
Worried about your friend, but don't know how to reach out?
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR, it's all good. If you think you should check in, yeah, you should.
Whatever gets you talking. Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Whatever gets you talking. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
It was a tough weekend to be an Ole Miss baseball fan after the Rebels were swept by SEC rival Tennessee at Swayze Field. The Vols came out swinging on Friday, literally and figuratively. Tennessee outscored the former top-ranked Rebels by a score of 26-7 over the course of 3 games. Now, it's okay to lose a game and even a series, but when you are supposed to be the #1 team in the country, you can't get obliterated at home this bad. Tennessee is a very, very good baseball team. They have phenomenal pitchers and an even better offense, and truthfully deserve that #1 spot, and now they've got it. After this weekend's performance, Ole Miss dropped to number 10 in the rankings, and the Vols took that top spot. In other news on the diamond, the Ole Miss softball team brought out the brooms on Sunday after sweeping the Missouri Tigers in a 3-game series. It was total domination from the first pitch in Game 3, and the Rebels walked away with a 5-1 win over the Tigers as they stayed undefeated at home. Mizzou came into the weekend ranked at number 19, which gave Ole Miss their first series sweep over a ranked opponent since last season against number 25, UCF. The Rebels will look to continue their domination on Tuesday against UT Martin at the Ole Miss softball complex. The first pitch is at 6 p.m. Central Time and will be available on SEC Network Plus. Onto the outdoor track, the women's track and field team headed into the season with a number 19 ranking in their first outdoor USTFC CCA National Outdoor Ranking of the season. This is the first time the track team has made an outdoor appearance since 2018, and they'll be looking to set more program records this season. Shea Taiwo has been a crucial force on the Ole Miss team after earning 30.98 points and placing second in the outdoor Week 1 ratings. Shot putter Jay Lonnie Davis and pole vaulters Lindsey Reed have also been a big reason for Ole Miss's success thus far. The Rebels will be back in competition on April 8th and 9th for the Joe Walker Invitational. Now, serving things up on the tennis court, the Ole Miss men's tennis team put up a good fight but ultimately fell to the number 12 Kentucky Wildcats by a score of 4-3. Ole Miss was able to sweep the doubles portion of the match before falling to Kentucky in the singles matchup. The Rebels have been unable to overcome Kentucky's tennis team, losing in 4 straight matchups dating back to 2018. They have a busy weekend ahead of them as they host the Georgia Bulldogs on Friday and then will travel to Starkville to take on the in-state rival Mississippi State on Sunday. Now on to the basketball court. The Final Four of March Madness is set, much to the disappointment of basketball fans everywhere. This year's contenders are no stranger to the Final Four and NCAA tournament, having each won a national championship since 2008. Duke and UNC both managed to make it to the Final Four again. Fan favorite St. Peter's fell to the Tar Heels yesterday after a historic run through the tournament, breaking hearts and continuing to break brackets everywhere. The game is bringing a lot of attention and emotion at the possibility of Duke head coach K coaching his final game against UNC and at Duke. I wish there was a way for both teams to lose. Villanova and Kansas will be facing off on Saturday as well, marking another historic moment within these two teams. Villanova is currently sitting as an underdog, but you can never count a team out in March Madness. And that's all I've got for sports. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at rebel_watch for the latest sports updates.
Thanks, Ruby. Wildlife officials tracked this monstrous animal for weeks and were finally able to relocate it. Find out where this bear was and what he was up to up next on NewsWatch.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are distinguished as a Carnegie R1 top 2.5% research institution. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
£500. That's how much this enormous black bear weighs. Wildlife officials in East Tennessee captured and relocated the bear late last week after its behavior became more destructive.
For years, this bear was known to rummage through just about whatever he could get his big paws on around the campus of Tusculum University in Greenville, Tennessee, near the North Carolina border. But after an increase in property damage, the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency decided it was time for a move. They tranquilized the bear with the help of the fire department and safely relocated it to the Cherokee National Forest.
That's all for tonight. For NewsWatch Ole Miss, I'm Sarah Gale.
And I'm Anna Caroline Barker. Be sure to follow us on social media at NewsWatch Ole Miss for the latest updates on Ole Miss and beyond.
Thank you and good night.